Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, Craig here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Rick, and he's selling his Amazon FBA business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Rick. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Good to hear. I'm looking forward to talking more about your business. But before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of the business. It's an Amazon FBA business in the home niche, created in August 2016. The average monthly revenue for the business is $106,021, and it makes an average of $28,347 net profit each month. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 51180 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, let's have a look at what's included in the sale. We have the Amazon Seller Central account with 79 SKUs, 2 domains including site and content and files for both of those domains, trademarks, supplier contracts and relationships, and employee contracts. And it's important to note that inventory is not normally included in the list price, but further details can be provided to active buyers. Okay, Rick, now let's hear from you. Can you tell us a little about your background in building and running online businesses?
Well, this was actually my first online business. I had done a lot of more of your brick and mortar traditional type of jobs and businesses before this, and kind of want to do something that I didn't have to build from scratch and that I didn't have to, sit at a store and wait for customers to show up. So I came upon online companies and looked at quite a few and actually ended up purchasing this business back in July of 2018 from Empire. And then from there, I actually had some really good training from the previous owner because it was something that was new to me. He did a real good job of kind of bringing me up to speed, actually helped me launch a product. That was kind of my training, and just did a really good job and really gave me a good start when it came to this. Since then, we acquired some different online businesses. We have 6 different websites. So definitely a lot more involved in the online business world. But yeah, this was actually my first one.
Excellent stuff. And was there anything you learned from offline business that you applied to running this online business?
I would say the hours worked didn't bug me as much. Doing more of your traditional jobs and brick and mortars and physical labor and such, you really can appreciate being able to, sit in a coffee shop or sit at home or sit wherever you want. As long as you have a laptop and an internet connection, you can do your job. And really appreciated that. So the hours that it took, some of the late nights talking to suppliers or, getting inventory ordered or talking about new products into the wee hours wasn't that big of a sacrifice because I was, in my pajamas. So it wasn't too hard for me. So I think that played a lot into it. And then having a business that was already operating, already generating income and not having to build it from scratch, not having to find, reputable suppliers, all that type of thing really definitely gave me a huge leg up.
Excellent. Yeah, the pajama phone calls is definitely one of the big appealing points for running an online business, I would probably say. So what was it that attracted you to the Amazon FBA model in particular?
It was the one I understood the most. Having come from more of your traditional sources, I understood physical products. The thought of having a business that, didn't deal in physical things, whether that was affiliate or AdSense or SaaS especially. I'm not really super techie. Actually, in this field, I'm considered an old person. So, dealing with a lot of people that are, decades younger than me. And so I definitely understood products a lot more. And so, Amazon FBA just made more sense to me. And I thought I could grasp it much more quickly. I've obviously diversified from there and done those scary, online only type of monetizations. But yeah, it was just the one that I was the most comfortable with that I thought I could pick up the quickest.
Absolutely, yeah. It totally makes sense to use your previous knowledge and experience and it is certainly applicable to the online world, especially for e-commerce. So How come was it that you chose the home niche in particular?
Well, when I looked at the companies that were available on Empire at the time, I took about, I would say, 4 months to just look through all the different FBA businesses that were available. And of course, every Monday, new ones would show up. So I just constantly kept looking, kept researching, kept doing my due diligence. And when I came upon this one, again, a product line that I understood, that I don't want to say I had immense amount of experience in, but been around, had worked with. So it was just one I knew I would have a high level of understanding on it. And then it was definitely a niche that I didn't think would fall out of favor quickly. It wasn't a fad. It wasn't the new and improved fidget spinner. So it was one that I knew had been around for a while and would continue to be around. So that gave me some comfortability with the product lines and that niche specifically.
Okay, and I noticed on your listing page, it says that 2 brands are included in the sale, both of which are brand registered. Were they already with the business when you acquired it, or did you implement that yourself?
One of the brands was sort of included. It wasn't actually registered. It was back during Amazon's brand registry 1.0, which is where you registered a brand only with Amazon and not with some government entity filing a trademark. And so that's what it came with, was that one. We had since actually got it registered as a trademark, so that further protected the brand. And then the second one is actually our seller name, our seller account name. And we actually really, really liked it. We thought, if we're going to maybe launch a new line of products that are related, but not directly related to the products that we sell, it would make sense to sell them under the name of the seller account. And so we ended up registering that brand as well. We haven't used it yet, so that's definitely some opportunity for growth and give you some flexibility of not just the brand that the products are currently under, but also the one that the seller account name is.
Okay. What about the marketplaces you sell in? I see you sell in US and Canada, with majority sales coming from the US, but you're also approved to sell in Mexico, the UK, and EU as well?
Yeah, we actually went through the process of getting our VATs, our VATs, so that we could legally sell in those countries. We actually migrated over our top 25 sellers into those marketplaces, but this was actually very, very recent. And having made the decision to put the business up for sale, we didn't want to go through the process of sending a bunch of new inventory in an untested market and kind of put that burden upon the next owner. So we thought it was wise to hold back while the new owner to make the decisions on how they want to expand.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So how come is it that you're selling the business at this point?
Well, it's actually kind of a funny story. I had contacted Empire for the sale of one of our smaller websites. And in that conversation, they started asking about my FBA business, knowing since I bought it through you guys that I had it. And through that conversation, they said, well, the market's good if you do want to sell. And so that kind of started a very long conversation with my wife saying, hey, the main business that brings us money that we love, hey, let's sell that. So there was some long conversations and some convincing over time, but she definitely warmed to the idea and saw it as an opportunity. And on top of that, actually a couple months ago, my oldest son approached me, and having, as I call it, worked for a living for the last many years, he was interested in doing what I do, or at least learning more about it. And I said, well, the best way I can teach you is how I did it. And also just starting from scratch. How do you open an LLC? How do you register a brand? How do you open a bank account? How do you get a tax ID? How do you find products? How do you launch products? How do you ship them? How do you build a listing? All those kinds of things. And so through that process, that's something I've been working with him on. And we kind of started working on a new line of products in a completely new niche. And so I started to see my attention kind of shift to that because it's something that I'm doing with my son. So that really kind of changed my priorities. And I said, I can't give the time and attention for both. And so it just kind of made sense to put the business up for sale.
Excellent. That's a really interesting story to hear how your online business has an effect on your family life as well, and how you can work with your businesses. So yeah, definitely a fantastic opportunity for a potential buyer to get a great business. So is there anything you've learned from this business that you will apply to future sites, or that you will teach to your son as well, I guess?
Lots of what not to do. I'm definitely one that I'm not afraid to fail. I guess I'm of the age that it's not a scary thing anymore. So I've learned a lot through either, just not planning as much as I should have or, just poor decisions. So there was a lot I learned through just trial and error. But, at the end of the day, I've learned that the market and the customers decide if your products are any good. And so I've really taken the approach of just, launching, testing the market and seeing what people like. Because I consider myself to have good taste, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the market would agree with me. So, and they haven't on many occasions. So it's really just kind of, putting things out there in front of the customers, doing all of that prep work that's necessary to, have the best pictures, have the best descriptions, having the best suppliers. And so you do all that kind of pre-work to give your products the best opportunity to be successful. And then the market decides from there. And, if it's a winner, great. And if it's not, it's fine. Move on to the next one. So I think just that, just keep trying, keep pushing. You're not going to be 100% successful all the time. Like you mentioned, we have 79 SKUs. We've had well over 100 different products that we've launched in this business. And, if there was an issue with one, if it just was a bad seller, maybe there's a quality issue, all those kinds of things, you just cut ties with it, dispose of the product and move on to something else. So that's something I've definitely learned through this process.
Absolutely. And was there anything you learned building this business that particularly worked well for you?
I think when I first purchased the business, he had 6 products and they were 4 different types of products. We ended up discontinuing 2 of them from a very early onset, quality issues, poor sales, that type of thing. And then the other 4 we kept and actually still have to this day. And I guess something I've learned is, especially when it comes to this line of product and in the home general niche as well, sometimes, whether it's trends or it could just be that people can't find that specific product. I found that, sometimes things are popular and then fall out of favor. But I've also found that things maybe don't sell very well from the beginning for whatever reason. They start to trend, they start to come back into favor with customers, and they actually start selling. We had a product that we launched actually fairly early on, back in November, December of 2018. We've kept around. It's just been an okay seller. And I'd say within the last 6 months, it's just jumped up, and now it's our 3rd best seller. And it's been around since 2018. So, you just don't know what trends and what things may be more enticing to customers as time goes on. So that's where, again, having a myriad of different products, a myriad of different options for customers has really boded well for us and this business.
Excellent stuff. And you mentioned that some products fell off or product launches didn't work out for you, but was there any other sort of maybe growth strategies you tried to implement that didn't work out for you with this business?
Yeah, I would say actually one of the biggest mistakes that we made is when we really, really believed in a product, we, before even launching it, we kind of went, I guess, too full steam ahead with it. We would launch it and push a bunch of PPC to it. We would offer it in different variations. We would even do multi-packs of them. And so it was a huge, huge inventory cost. And before we ever tested the market to see if it really was going to be a successful product, but we had our, hopes and dreams and thoughts that, we were really smart and that, it was going to be great. And we had several of those types of products that just either did subpar or just completely failed. And that was a real hit because that was a lot of cost. It was a lot of prep. There was a lot of work that went into that. And so we definitely switched our, strategy and moved to more of a testing the market, bringing the products to market at, as little cost as possible, as little inventory buy as possible to really test out the market. And then if we found a little bit of favor with customers, we found a little bit of positive sales, then we would start slowly expanding those products. And that strategy really has worked well for us, and it's really helped us to kind of mitigate those losses.
Absolutely. Yeah, it must be difficult when you really believe in a product and put everything into it and it doesn't seem to work out for you, I guess. Yeah, and learn from that. Testing the market is definitely a good way to sort of mitigate that. So you mentioned PPC. Where does the majority of traffic come from for this store?
We do, a fair amount of PPC, but really organic is kind of our bread and butter. And we definitely push some PPC towards either new products or maybe some that were doing well before and start to, for whatever reason, start dropping in organic, search ranking. So for the most part, it's some PPC, but it's a lot of just, organic.
Okay. And if you were to keep the business, what are some ways that you would try to grow it?
Well, I would probably first look at the products that we have that are doing well and start finding ways of offering different variations of them or doing some combo packs, multi-packs, some bundles. And that would be the lowest hanging fruit. The easiest thing to do is just expand upon the newly successful products. There's probably, off the top of my head, 3 to 5 of those that would be pretty easy to expand upon. And then beyond that, it's contacting our current suppliers and finding out what new products that they're developing or that they currently do have. And then, of course, expanding into new vendors, new suppliers, and finding out what products that they have that are related to the product lines that we already have. We've really found that, launch first strategy has really been successful for us. And so just, expanding on what's been successful and then finding new products, new trends, new things that are kind of the more up and comings and just launching those and seeing how the market responds to them would be the easiest way for growth.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sounds like there's some great growth opportunities for this business. What about the day-to-day work? What do you do in this business for maintenance?
Me personally, not very much. I have a part-time VA that does a lot of the day-to-day stuff. He does the customer questions. If there's someone leaving a review or leaving a question on one of the listings, he's responding to them. He deals with our suppliers. He deals with our inventory control. So he really does a lot of the day-to-day stuff. I do more of the general oversight. I do obviously the planning for new product launches or, hey, let's expand this product line. Those types of things, but not a whole lot day-to-day.
Yeah, that makes sense. What skills or requirements do you think there are for someone who's not familiar with this niche or business model?
With the VA that's in place, honestly, not a whole lot. If you just wanted to keep the business as is, it's not something I would suggest or recommend. But yeah, it's to do the current job functions that are necessary. There's not a whole lot. I mean, obviously having some understanding on Amazon FBA and, general inventory type of, control, cost, those types of things, and those logistics would be helpful, but not necessarily something you would have to have from day one. And then, of course, with the opportunity to expand in the current product line and new product lines, someone that has either ability, willingness, or obviously capital to be able to do that, what I would say would be necessary to really bring the business more growth than it currently has.
What do you think are the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
Because it's based on Amazon, obviously Amazon, controls their marketplace. So obviously the biggest risk is that you're dependent upon Amazon not drastically changing the rules of the game. And so, there obviously is opportunity with the 2 websites to expand to those marketplaces and have your own e-commerce website. But that would probably be the biggest risk, is that it is solely based on Amazon. And so, you have to make sure you're following their rules, their terms.
And about those domains, do you drive any traffic to those domains? Do you see sort of any engagement there? Or?
We currently actually haven't developed the sites. We just actually own the domains, and it's just something that we really haven't focused on expanding into that arena. So again, another opportunity for the new owner to diversify and to expand what we already do.
Yeah, absolutely. And expanding off Amazon, like you say, would help mitigate the risk of Amazon's changes. Yeah, I mean, great stuff we've discussed today. Overall, putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
Well, I wouldn't want to necessarily sell it based on potential, but I mean, because honestly, it does very well for itself now. But it's definitely one that I have found, having started from 4 SKUs that we originally kept to the 79 that it has now, it has such a almost unlimited amount of expansion opportunities that it could really grow very easily with just a little bit of obviously extra work in launching those products, but then obviously some extra capital. So definitely a business that you can build upon. And then obviously because it's only based on Amazon, being able to expand into other areas, possibly do some wholesaling. There's just a lot of different ways that it could go, and just areas that we didn't focus on. We, I think, did a really good job with what we did on Amazon, and it's done well for us. And so we kind of had the mindset of focusing on what we were really good at. And we found every time we did a launch, that we'd have successes, we'd have an increase in sales, we'd have an increase in profits. And so we just kept doing that. But someone coming in that has, experience on Amazon or maybe experience doing other things would definitely have an opportunity to grow this.
Absolutely, yeah. It seems like you put some solid foundations in place for someone to come in and grow the business. So, yeah, regarding the sale of this business, would you commit to a non-compete?
Yes, of course.
And how much support are you willing to offer buyers? Are you going for the standard 30 days of email and Skype support?
Yeah, I think, just because of the price tag, I don't see anyone coming in completely green. But obviously, I'm there. I want to see the business continue and be successful. So, of course, the first 30 days, I'm willing to, do what's necessary for them to get back up to speed.
Excellent. And are you open to negotiating something like an earnout?
I'm definitely open to it. I'm not really preferenced one way or the other. I mean, obviously, cash up front is wonderful and whatnot, but, I'm willing to work with the buyer, whether that's with, some type of earnout, some type of profit share. I'm kind of open to whatever and kind of want to see, what gets put on the table.
Anything else you'd like to share that I might have missed?
No, I think you've done an excellent job.
Thank you. I'd say the same for you. It's been great talking to you about your business. Thank you very much for your time, Rick.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Appreciate it too. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 51180. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.